She came to destroy the ancient lighthouse, but found a love that would change her forever. He was the keeper of centuries-old secrets. She was an architect following orders. Their worlds collided on the edge of the ocean. Subscribe to my channel and like. The Atlantic wind howled like a siren, wrapping around the weathered walls of a lighthouse that had stood for centuries on a lonely, rocky coast of Ireland. For Kira, an architect from Dublin, this structure was just another project, another task from a developer who had bought the land for a hotel complex. Her mission was simple: assess the building's condition and prepare it for demolition. She didn't expect to find him there. Sean stood on the porch of the small keeper's cottage built into the lighthouse's base. Tall, with a weathered face and eyes the color of a stormy sea, he held an old pair of binoculars. "Weren't expecting you till Monday," he said, his voice low and calm, like the whisper of waves against rocks. "Plans changed," Kira replied, feeling raindrops slide down the collar of her expensive coat. "If you're security, I need access." He smiled, but there was no warmth in his eyes. "I'm not security. I'm the keeper. My grandfather, his father, and 5 generations before them tended this light, and no one has the right to extinguish it." Their first argument was fierce and loud, like an approaching storm. He, the guardian of heritage, seeing a soul in every brick. She, the realist, seeing only decay and losses. He spoke of memory. She spoke of progress. Kira began her measurements, trying to ignore Sean, who continued his rounds like an ancient ritual. But one day, when a storm drove her inside the lighthouse, she climbed the winding cast-iron stairs all the way to the lantern room. There, she saw a miracle. Not the working lighthouse lamp. It had been recently deactivated, but hundreds of names and dates engraved on the inner walls. Entire family histories, events, prayers. "Ow," was all she could utter. Subscribe to my channel and like. Sean stood in the doorway. Everyone who ever served here left their mark. Everyone this light, saved from disaster, had the right to add the name of someone they were grateful for. In that moment, her confidence cracked. She began spending time with him. At first, it was brief conversations over coffee in the keeper's cottage, then joint inspections of the building, during which he told stories of every scratch on the walls. He showed her the place where his grandfather had engraved his mother's birth date, told how the lighthouse survived the Great Storm of 1914. He taught her the language of the sea, the whisper of the wind, the song of the waves. She, in turn, shared with him the dreams she had buried under piles of blueprints and estimates. She told him how she once wanted to build not hotels, but buildings with history, but had chosen the profitable path. One evening, as they sat by the fireplace in the cottage, their fingers accidentally touched over a cup of hot tea. He didn't pull his hand away. Neither did she. "You see not just stone and metal, Kira," he whispered. "You see what I see." The kiss was tender, slow, like the reflection of a lighthouse on water. It was filled with promises and hope that they both thought were lost. Subscribe to my channel and like. Kira and Sean's relationship blossomed like the first spring flowers on the cliffs. They worked together day after day, documenting every detail of the lighthouse. He taught her the history of this place, and she opened his world to architectural heritage and ways to protect it. They found strengths in each other they never knew they had. One day, Kira received a letter, an official order: immediately complete the assessment and vacate the territory for demolition to begin. The sum she was promised for this work could change her career. She showed the letter to Sean. His face darkened. "I always knew you'd leave. That's your world. Papers, orders, money." But Kira was no longer the woman who had arrived here. She saw history coming to life in her hands and realized that this history had brought her to life too. She saw how Sean looked at her, not as a temporary guest, but as part of this place, part of his life. "I'm not leaving," she said, looking into his eyes. "I'm staying to fight." That night, their intimacy took on new, profound meaning. It was not just an expression of passion, but a confirmation of their choice to be together. In each other's arms, they found the home they had been searching for all their lives. The next day, they began their fight. Kira used her knowledge and connections to find historians, architects, journalists. She created a full-scale campaign to save the lighthouse. Sean became its heart and soul, telling stories that couldn't be found in any archives. A month passed. The lighthouse, once slated for demolition, was now on the front pages of local newspapers. The development company, under public pressure, was forced to back down. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in purple and gold, Sean led Kira to the very top of the lighthouse. "You didn't just save stone and glass," he began, his voice blending with the eternal wind. "You saved thousands of stories. You saved my heart." He knelt on one knee and pulled from his pocket not a ring, but an old brass key to the lantern room. "This key has opened the door for generations of my family. It guided hundreds of ships home. Now it opens my heart to you. Be my wife, Kira. Let's light our own fire that will never go out." Tears of happiness welled in her eyes. Her yes was lost in his embrace, beneath the eternal hymn of wind and waves, near the lighthouse that had become a symbol of their love, a love that ignited amid storms and lit their path to a shared future. Subscribe to my channel and like.